After 1945, the world wanted to believe that the nightmare was over, that the war had ended, and the evil that fueled it had been buried forever. But the truth is, some shadows never fade. They just move deeper underground. In the years that followed, a strange silence surrounded anything related to Die Glocke. Every attempt to trace it ended in a dead end, witnesses missing, archives sealed, and files conveniently lost in fires. Yet, in the decades after the war, reports began to surface of secret research sites in the deserts of New Mexico and Nevada. Sites where scientists, some of whom had once worked for the Reich, were now employed by the United States government. Among those scientists were men who had personally known Hans Kammler, men who had once stood inside the mountain laboratories of the Third Reich. And suddenly, strange things began appearing in the sky. In 1952, radar operators over Washington, D.C. recorded unidentified flying objects, performing maneuvers no known aircraft could achieve. The official explanation: weather anomalies. But pilots describe silent disks moving at impossible speeds, glowing with the same bluish hue witnesses once reported around the bell. It was as if history was repeating itself, but under a different flag. At the same time, the Cold War was heating up. Nuclear stockpiles grew, and with them, a new kind of secrecy, not about weapons, but about technology. Governments began classifying entire fields of research. Terms like electrogravitics and field propulsion quietly disappeared from public science. Projects were renamed, rebranded, and hidden behind layers of military jargon. And deep in the American desert, construction began on a facility that will become infamous around the world, Area 51. To the public, it didn't exist. To those inside, it was where the future was being built and where the past was being rewritten. Among the many theories about Area 51, one has always stood out, that it housed technology recovered from Nazi Germany. Not alien craft, not visitors from the stars, but human-made machines born from war, refined in silence. Declassified documents from the 1950 seconds mention experimental tests involving high-voltage systems, rotating plasma, and electromagnetic propulsion concepts eerily identical to those used in the bell. In one report, a device described as a rotating cylinder producing intense magnetic vortices was tested in Nevada. It generated powerful gravitational anomalies. And then, the project was abruptly shut down. Official reason: classified due to national security. Coincidence? Or the quiet rebirth of Kammler's lost experiment? What happened to Hans Kammler remains one of the greatest mysteries of the war. Some say he shot himself in May 1945. Others insist he was captured by the Allies and given a new identity in exchange for his knowledge. A few claim he was flown out of Germany aboard a secret aircraft, along with the bell, heading towards South America where, in the years that followed, dozens of Nazi officials were discovered living in exile. In 1959, an Argentine farmer reported seeing a metallic bell-shaped craft crash deep in the Andes. By the time authorities arrived, the site was cordoned off by unidentified men speaking fluent German. The object was removed and never seen again. It sounds like fiction, until you realize how often this pattern repeats. Every time the bell reappears, someone erases the evidence. Every time a witness speaks, someone silences them. It's as if the technology itself is cursed, too powerful, too dangerous, too far ahead of its time. And yet, traces of its existence continue to haunt the modern world. In the 1980 seconds, military engineers began developing something called Project Aurora, a hypersonic aircraft supposedly capable of speeds exceeding Mach 6. Officially, it doesn't exist. Unofficially, multiple witnesses have described seeing silent, glowing triangular craft streaking across the night sky, leaving a faint blue trail, the same eerie glow associated with high-energy plasma propulsion. The same phenomenon described in the Nazi experiments of the 1940 seconds. The parallels are undeniable. The timeline fits. The technology matches. And the secrecy? That's the same too. But what if the bell wasn't just about flight or energy? What if Kammler and his scientists had stumbled onto something much more profound, something that could alter our very perception of reality? The declassified chronos referenced the word meaning time wasn't an accident. The experiments were said to have created distortions in local time fields. Objects would flicker, appearing seconds before they should, or vanish for moments, only to reappear unharmed. Imagine, for a moment, that the Nazis had actually found a way to manipulate time even briefly. That would explain why so much of their work was destroyed, why the Allies scrambled to seize every document they could find, why Kammler and his team disappeared. If they truly achieved even a glimpse of that kind of power, it would have rewritten the rules of the universe, and whoever controlled it would control everything. Throughout history, power like that has always come with a price. The ancient myths spoke of gods punished for stealing fire from the heavens. The same theme repeats knowledge that humanity isn't ready for, always leading to destruction. Maybe the bell was that forbidden fire. Today, more than 80 years later, the legend still refuses to die. Every few years, new files surface photographs of strange devices, testimonies from old scientists, whispers from inside classified programs. Each time, they point back to the same place, the same machine, the same name, Die Glocke. And even now, in remote corners of Poland and Germany, where the old tunnels lie sealed beneath forest, locals swear that on certain nights, you can still hear a faint humming sound beneath the ground, a low vibration that seems to pulse with the rhythm of something mechanical, something alive. Perhaps it's just the wind moving through hollow concrete. Or perhaps it's something that was never truly shut down. Maybe the bell never stopped spinning. Maybe the experiment never ended. Maybe what began in the mountain lab in 1944 is still echoing through time, its effects rippling quietly through our present. Because the deeper you look into this story, the harder it becomes to separate fact from legend, or legend from the truth that was meant to stay buried. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the secret isn't just what the Nazis built, but why so many have gone to such lengths to make sure no one ever finds it. We like to think we've moved beyond the darkness of that era, that science today is pure, controlled, ethical. But history has a strange way of repeating itself, and if the power once sought by the Third Reich was truly rediscovered, you can be certain it's not being used for peace. Perhaps one day, when the last file is declassified and the final tunnel is opened, we'll know the truth about the bell. Maybe then, we'll understand what the Nazis were really trying to unlock and why it terrified even those who built it. Until that day, all we have are fragments, whispers in classified archives, scars in the landscape, and the unsettling feeling that somewhere out there, in some hidden laboratory, the hum of Die Glocke still echoes a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It's just waiting to be rediscovered.